Hey everyone, welcome to my Conquest monthly update session. In this episode, I'm going to be reviewing R10, which went into effect around October 15th, 2025. As you can see, I'm in my sample client scenario for John and Jane. And as a reminder, upper left corner hamburger icon, we're going to go to support and resources and review in the knowledge base what's new. R10. Here are the table of contents. We've got some feature enhancements, some insights enhancements. This is SAM Insights, asset allocation during migration, editing PDF report layouts, and critical illness return of premium feature, which is a welcome addition to the software. So I'm going to scroll down and work from the top right through down to the bottom. So first up is Insight Enhancements. So what this essentially is showing you, or what they've enhanced, is consolidated insight. So if there are multiple alerts with regards to certain accounts, as an example, it's going to combine them into one alert instead of multiple ones. So it's going to just make things a little more concise. Let's head over to Conquest. We'll take a closer look at what that means. So I'll demo that in the accounts card. And as you can see, there's a couple things highlighted here already for the savings strategies. So there's multiple accounts there. Yeah. And if we refer to SAM Insights and accounts without savings, everything is combined on one alert. So all the accounts without the savings are listed down below. And we can either choose to update the data or no current savings. Okay. And we can hover over these little bubbles and we can dismiss it here, or we can say no current savings there. Okay, so that just shows you with regards to one of the alerts. Another one is with regards to the cost basis. So I do have a non-reg account down here with a $0 cost basis. So it's just saying, hey, if you have the book value, please reference it and insert it here as cost basis. So it'll be a little more accurate. If there are any redemptions done on this account, it'll calculate the taxes for you. So just to show you really quickly, I'm going to add another non-reg account. And I'll put it here, non-reg account 2, let's call it. I'm going to put a market value of $10,000. And if I leave the cost basis blank, we're going to see on the right-hand side, SAM Insights is just updating there, and it's brought the two in together into one consolidated alert. So that's essentially what's going on there with regards to SAM Insights and the enhancements. Now, SAM Insights I'm growing to like. I can appreciate it. I think this is a really nice feature for the advisor. I wouldn't say this is necessarily a feature to show client-facing, but for the advisor, as you're entering data into the software, it just alerts you of the things you might have missed or forgotten about, just saying, hey, are you sure? And so I think it's a nice feature for that. So remember, SAM Insights. SAM is an acronym for Strategic Advice Manager, and that's the AI engine always working behind the scenes, no matter what planning mode you're in, step-by-step, expert, or auto plan with SAM. SAM is always in behind the scenes reviewing and analyzing your client scenario. So that's a nice feature to have. And like I said, I'm growing to like it more and more. Let's head back to our notes and we'll move on to the next item, which is asset allocation during migration. So when an advisor, if you were to migrate to a new firm, any of your custom asset allocation advisor profiles used in your advisor's plans will now carry over. The plan level asset allocation settings remain unchanged, and duplicate asset allocation profiles are not created in the plans upon migration. I don't want to spend a lot of time in this, but to show you really quickly, if we head out of the plan back to the home page, exit the client list, and you go up into your settings, you have the ability to build your own asset allocation profiles here. So we can add a profile. Okay. Otherwise, you're just going to have your default profiles show up for any new plans you launch. And on a per plan basis, you can always build a custom allocation. But the benefit of doing it here is any plans you launch moving forward will carry over these custom profiles and have an option outside of the default settings for you. So that's essentially what that's about. Let's head back into my sample client scenario, and we'll continue on. So the next item up is editing PDF report layouts. Okay, I kind of like this feature. It just changed slightly and tweaked the workflow when creating custom report layouts. So essentially, there's a couple of spots where we can build these custom layouts, and I'm going to head over to Conquest to show you what that looks like. If you go to review client resources and prepare a report, everyone will always see your default layout as loading in here, as you can see, unless you've made any changes, added any sections, or you can always dismiss or exclude down here to the excluded reports. After you build your layout, you can then hit the save changes, and then you can give it a title to save it. But the change here in this monthly update, I'll show you as we go back here to the hamburger icon, exit the client list, and in the upper right, we can now manage resource libraries here. And I just find it's a nice high-level overview. As you can see, I've built some custom layouts previously, and it's time dated and stamped when I did that. But the feature here is when we create a new one, we can give it a name. So let's say I want to create a new one, estate report, as an example, and I'm going to hit create. And what this is doing, it's loading out or loading up a report layout. And as you can see, it's just got the cover page, table of contents, disclaimer, and the assumption. That's it right now. So what you want to do is you want to hit the plus button section down here, and we can pull up the section library. And then what we have here are the default report pages that I showed you previously in the report section. Those are all going to be laid out here. And now we can just pick and choose which ones we want. We can choose to select all, or we can just put a check mark in the box to the one that's applicable. So as I titled this my estate layout, maybe I want to include some notes, because I like, as a best practice, to include notes on a plan that adds a further customization to things. I'm going to put in my estate report. And I have, let's see, a legacy goal, so I'm going to include that. But you may notice that there are no other reports such as multi-year estate or estate projection, which I'd want to include. So remember, these thumbnails are just the default ones. What we'd have to do is we'll have to add in those 2 pages. So I've got them there, and I'll just simply hit the plus section or plus section up here to add additional reports. So I'll go to the chart table, and I'm going to pull up the multi-year estate. And there we go. So I'm going to add that in manually. I'm going to hit select. And then another favorite report that I can appreciate is the estate projection. These 2 reports complement each other quite nicely. I love this one because we can see year over year net worth. Each bar represents the total net worth year over year. And then here's the net estate. So as you can see, net estate is much higher than the net worth. So you can tell there's an insurance in there. There's an insurance benefit. And then it drops off. Looks like it's a term policy that falls off. And so this is a key report when positioning protection and showing a client the benefits of owning insurance if you do an insurance analysis of having someone die sooner, etc. So now I built my custom report layout. I'm happy with these number of pages, so I'm going to hit publish. And there we go. It's in my report layout. And so when I go back into my client sample scenario for John and Jane, when I go to review client resources, prepare report, I should see it in here, and I can just go to my estate report, and then it's pulling out in here for my client. Now, remember, I added the notes, so before I do that for the client, I might want to go on to the notes about the plan, and I would encourage you all to maybe edit this, and then you can add some personalization to your reports, which is a really nice touch. So that's it for that update. Let's head on to the next section. Down here, critical illness return of premium. I love this. This is a welcome addition to the software because prior to this, as a workaround, we had to add a tax-free income future dated into our scenario to model what that would look like. So this feature, when we add a critical illness insurance in the client overview section, it models 3 different ROPs. So we have return of premium on death, return of premium on expiry, and return of premium on cancellation. Important conditions. It says these riders apply only if the lump sum critical illness benefit has not been paid and the policy remains in force until the applicable return of premium date. So here's a screen snapshot. So we've got the ROPs there. I'm going to head over to Conquest in 1 second. But as a reminder, as we all know, the return of premium proceeds are tax-free income, and you have the ability for the cancellation expiry to put into the cash flow or select an account. Same with the return of premium on death. A couple of key reports we can reference to follow and audit and make sure things are lining up are the gross cash flow projection report and the single account activity report. Okay. Let's head over to Conquest and we'll demo some of this and see what it looks like. So, assuming the client already has this critical illness insurance policy, it's in force, in place right now, so they currently have it. So we're going to go down here to other insurance policies. We're going to add in the critical illness policy. Let's go into more detail here, and I'm going to just build out a sample scenario. Let's say it has a base coverage of 100,000. And I'm going to direct the direct benefit to, you can see the default is surplus account, 0% return rate. Just for tracking purposes, I'm going to put it into, change that to the joint bank account. This is, if you left it at this one, it would be sort of, think of it as like an account that would be created in the event this would occur. But like I said, I'm going to choose the joint bank account just so I could track it a little bit better. I'm going to leave the coverage ends at age 75. We can model, as you recall, early cancellation. So maybe this is a scenario where client has the policy and they want to do an early cancellation. So I'm just going to model this scenario first. I'm going to choose 2030 in 5 years from now. You can enter the policy number and the insurer or the carrier there. Note the waiting period in months, or you can change it to the years, weeks, or days. And on the premium side, I'm going to keep it simple. So I'm going to use $100 a month premium. You can choose additional indexing there. I'm going to have the premiums end at age 75. And here we go. Return of premium on cancellation expiry. So I'm going to model a 50% ROP there as a percentage. And the destination, you can see it only gives me the option in this instance for cancellation expiry to the cash flow. And then down here, we have the toggle on return of premium on death. It defaults to no. I'm going to change it to yes. And so I'm just going to leave the beneficiary as John, but we could change that to the spouse. And destination, again, it defaults to surplus account, 0% return rate. I'm going to put it into the joint bank account just for tracking purposes. So as you recall, I'm modeling the early cancellation to begin with. So let's take a look at what that looks like. We can go up here into the audit reports, hit the little diagonal arrow, pull up the audit report section, and I can go to, let's see, I had it here. Maybe it was in my cash reserve. Nope. Where was it? I had it up here a second ago. Legacy, maybe. Okay, I'm going to just do this on the fly. So it was gross cash flow projection. Let me take out some of these reports so I can see it a little better. So gross cash flow projection. Gross cash flow projection. So I'm doing an early cancellation, and that's going in gross, no, multi-year cash flow. My apologies, take that out. Multi-year cash flow. What would I do without my little notes on the side here? I don't know. Okay, multi-year cash flow, sorry, projection, multi-cash flow, multi-year cash flow. Let's see, is it behind there? No, multi-year cash flow. There we go. thought it was projection. And so in 2030, I did an early cancellation. So if I scroll down here, I should see it. There it is. There's an item for critical illness policy. And there it is. In 2030, I did an early cancellation. So we're seeing a 50% ROP of $3,000. I had $100 a month. I just modeled the policy being enforced since December 31st, 2024. So it's not a long period of time. But that gives you an example. If a client is exploring, should I keep this policy? If I did an early cancellation, you can do that now. Everything will sync up quite nicely. You're not having to go, okay, 2030, do a manual calculation on the side of number of premiums, and then enter a tax-free income in the future. It's all taken care of for you right here. Okay, which is nice. So let's head back into the card. I'm going to make an adjustment here because I don't want to model the early cancellation. I want to show you the modeling of return of premium on cancellation return of premium on death. And I'm going to do the return of premium on expiry, which is age 75. Okay. So let's say on expiry, age 75, let's take a look at that option. So I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to look at my multi-year cash flow, and he's age 75 in the year 2049. I want to go down to my ledger here. And where did it go? Multi-year cash flow. Where did the critical illness go? Did I pass it? There it is. Okay, critical illness policies. Let's move over to the year 2049, and I should see it. Hopefully, there it is. 15,000. So in 2049, obviously a lot more years. It's calculating the 50% ROP, $100 a month between now and then, and that equates to $15,000. So there it is. Okay. Let's head back. We're going to do one more modeling. So just to refresh my memory, lining things up, age 75. What if he died sooner? Either just through maybe an accident, maybe it was a critical illness. We can now model this in our reports and have everything sync up quite nicely in the risk management. So the insurance analysis. As you can see, I've got a couple things lined up here. I'm going to model John passing away at age 52. So we've got the ROP, and on death at 52, we should see the ROP. So I'm doing John passes away sooner. This is great because now we can stress test our plan. We can say, well, what if John dies a little sooner? Look at this. Attention is required. There's shortfalls pre-retirement, shortfalls after retirement. Okay, we need to address this. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's look at the single account activity report. And remember, I put it in a joint bank account. So I should advance a couple of years. I should see it. There it is. So there's the ROP landing in. Now, this is assuming he dies, not through a critical illness, although it could. Okay, I'm using the what if scenario, insurance analysis, he dies, just dying. Okay. And down here, remember, we've got several options. When you add a scenario, we've got one for critical illness, and I'm teed that one up down here so we can open. He's got $100,000 coverage. But you can see, even with 100,000, it's still not enough. And if we reference the suggested insurance, it's a little higher, obviously. Okay. So if we can, before we get ahead of ourselves there, just to show you the single account activity, and we should see the ROP if he becomes critically ill. There it is. So $100,000, that was the benefit amount. And I did it at age 52. And notice he's 52 January 1st, 2027, but it flows in March 1st. So the software is really smart because it has a 2-month waiting period. So it even models that for you. Okay. So next time you're working on a plan, after you've solved for your client's goals, shift over after risk management over here to the what if analysis and start playing around with what if analysis for life insurance, disability, and critical illness. You can stress test things. You can show a client, yes, you have policies in force right now, but is it enough? What if? And so I think this is the next progression to elevate your knowledge and skill level with Conquest. You want to play in this sandbox. This will help grow your business. I'm confident of that. So that's the monthly update. Hope you found this session useful and beneficial. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much. Please like this video, put a comment down below. I'd like to see who's watching this and who's getting some good stuff out of this. If you need to get a hold of me, you know where to find me. If you don't, just look me up on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active there. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.